Hey y'all, it's Kate. I am here to do a demonstration of how I would do a full year of bookkeeping if I were a brand new user to FreshBooks who wanted to start using the tool but put in a year or so of data. What I did was I created a new food safety consulting business, which is based on a real client that I've recently spoken to. And she wants to do all the transactions for her first year in business in FreshBooks. She's a single member LLC. She has one business checking account and one credit card. Her goal is to file her taxes, but she also will then start to use FreshBooks to run her business going forward. We are going to build these books as quickly as possible. This is not going to be the correct way to use FreshBooks. This consultant still is going to utilize my services to help her get set up on FreshBooks properly, trained in how to use the tools. This person's also going to join my FreshBooks office hours group for continued support to help her grow her business and use the tool well. So just don't forget that this is not how you should be running your business. We are just cramming together these books for the tax pro to file taxes for this past year. That's this scenario. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you use FreshBooks, you will be watching my videos. And if you haven't used FreshBooks yet, or if you're going to start fresh and use a different email to get started, I'd sure love it if you use the referral link for FreshBooks down below. That certainly helps keep this channel open. All right, you'll see that I'm in a new FreshBooks account. We got a 30-day free trial going. The first place we're going to go is to the accounting tab. Note that what you're seeing is the owner profile. I created a new owner. So this has the most bells and whistles that anyone could have. If you want to work with an accounting pro, you would invite them as a team member. There's two kinds of accounting pros. You can just invite an accountant access or an accountant full access. If you work with me, I'll be granted full access. It's the only way I can help you. But we're operating as the owner. And we are going to come here to the accounting tab, and we are going to do what's called add a bank account. Add bank account. We can't connect to the bank. You will hopefully connect to your bank if you're going to keep using the tool so that you can keep bringing in your transactions. But we are going to upload a CSV. The first thing we're going to do is checking. We'll call this relayed checking account. It's the account that I use for my business. I highly recommend it. I do have a referral link for that as well. Bank account. Start date for this will be January 1st, 2025. It had an opening balance of 0 in this scenario. We will click Save. Now, we are in the bank reconciliation screen now. Just so you know, we're here. This should be dark blue. This is the relay checking account. We don't have any transactions. If you had connected your account, you would have transactions here. If you didn't get a full year's worth of transactions imported via your connection, some banks might only go back like 6 months or 90 days, then you would create a CSV file like we're about to do and upload for the missing transactions, like the first 6 months of the year. But we're going to have to add them all, so we're going to import from file. And we are going to fake checking account data, open, description, date, 1 column, amount. I should only have a 3-column Excel file. You don't need one called running balance. You should really only have a 3-column account. When you download your CSV from your bank, get it down to just date, description, and amount, and make sure your signs are correct. If it's a negative number, it means you've spent money. The credit card, you're going to get in trouble. Credit cards sometimes allow you to download transactions that show your spending is positive and your payments is negative. So if you need help massaging your Excel file, call me. The date format is month, day, year. We're going to import transactions. And I promise you that there were 79 transactions. Make sure that this number right here looks like the number of rows you have in your CSV file. While this is working, we're going to go add a credit card, create an account. We'll call this Capital One CC. It is a credit card. This was started in April with a $0 balance. Come up to the top, hit save. I created a credit card file too. Again, now look, this is different. It looks the same. The only thing that's different, y'all, was this right here. This shows us where we are. Import from file. Fake credit card data. Open. Description, date. Oh, that pop-up is for the checking account, y'all. Amount, we're doing amount spent. I put all my transactions in 1 column. You should have a 3-column account if you're doing this the right way. I'm working fast and I know what I'm doing. Month, day, year, import transactions. 67 transactions. So if you didn't have this card as long as you did the checking account. All right, let me check my notes. Where am I? All right, so cool. This is table stakes. This is what has to happen first. Now, when you made this connection, FreshBooks is creating expenses for all of your negative numbers. This expenses tab right here, where the big old red cursor is where we're going to go next. Now, let's be clear, not all negative numbers are expenses. So that's going to cause us some problems that we're going to have to troubleshoot, okay? The money you pay yourself if you're a single member LLC, that's an owner's withdrawal. That's negative number in checking, but it's not an expense. If you pay off your credit card, also not an expense. But we're going to try to blast through what are the expenses with some bulk classification tools. So what I'm going to do is let me zoom in a little bit. I'm looking at this list and I'm seeing stuff that I bet is recurring transactions. Okay, great. You know what? Actually, let me refresh this screen just in case we have some more in the expenses tab. We back up. Each expense you can open, and there's a lot that you can do here, including opening it deeper and get into advanced expense settings. Again, you have to call me and come hang out with me either on my free monthly Q&A. You can join my office hours group, which is a weekly meeting. And you can call me for training, just for setup. I can teach you lots of stuff. Lots to do here. All we're going to do on the cleanup is this merchant and this category. Everything came in as no merchant and no category because we imported them. If you had connected your bank account, you'll be in better luck because the AI behind the scenes would have done its best attempt to classify stuff for you. It won't always be right, but it'll help some. Okay, so we're going to get everything a merchant and a category. I see this word Trello that looks like a monthly expense. So watch this, y'all. We're going to try to go as fast as we can. I'm searching the word Trello. And she looks like she started buying it in June. So we're going to click here. This is how you're going to go through this fast, y'all, this bulk action. We're going to change the category to software. Save. And what else did I say we have to change? The merchant. We're going to change the merchant. Trello. We have to hit the word create and save. Now, these blue boxes stay checked if you don't uncheck them. So I've learned the hard way. Don't forget to uncheck here. And then we can remove that filter. Oh, I misspelled that word Adobe. So we're going to spell it. That's supposed to be Adobe, but I wrote Adobe. And we have a subscription for that as well. So bulk actions, change category. That's in the software category. And we will change the merchant as well. It's a little bit painful to try to wait for this to do its thing, but this should not be how you use the software. We're going to be doing our books regularly, weekly, maybe 2 or 3 times a month at least, and so we're not going to get behind like this. I'll tell you a couple of other things that I know are recurring expenses. WeWork. Bulk actions, change category. That's rent. That's our office space. And we'll change the merchant to WeWork. Create WeWork. Create save. Or hit save. Oops. Google Workspace. Drop that. 9 of those. Bulk actions. Change merchant. Google Workspace. Change the category to software. I know that his docs is a recurring bulk actions, change category. This will be insurance, business insurance, food safety. Gotta be insured, right? Perfect tight. All right, I know she has some Amazon. Now, when I'm thinking about Amazon, I'm like, I don't know exactly what all this is. That looks expensive. It's still not going to be an asset, though. It's not costly enough. Please do not capitalize. You look at cheap computers. But as a cleanup, we're just going to go office supplies. If you want to, though, you can, hand select. Okay, these 7 were office supplies, and the other 2 were computers if you wanted to do that. For those of you who did connect your bank account, these merchants are likely going to already populated, so that'll be a big help. I know that there is a Gusto. Now, Gusto's coming at 24. Gusto is who I use for payroll. Payroll is who I recommend. I recommend it above the FreshBooks payroll powered by Gusto. I recommend Gusto Actual. And there are the 2 fees that hit this person pays their employee salary once a month, but they have to pay for Gusto. And so I'm actually just going to select the ones that say fee, because this is going to be the software fee. And then I'm going to tell you the hack that I use to clean up, for cleanups for rebuilds for payroll that wasn't properly accounted for in a bookkeeping software. Category. Merchant. Gusto is who we paid. That's who got our $55. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to talk about these other Gustos. So the hack that I use is that I'm going to let the tax pro break out the details, because one of these transactions each month is the direct deposit that goes to the employee, and the other is the total tax burden, which is the employee and the employer side of it. Yep, 16, so that's right. We're going to change the category to total payroll, wages, and taxes, parentheses, employee and employer. Create that. So when does this pop up? We've created a brand new category in the chart of accounts that FreshBooks didn't know about. We can nest it under other expenses just fine. Click Save. Now, what's going to happen is at the end of the year, you're going to give your report from your payroll provider, Gusto in this case, and you will use that end of year report to then break up what portion of these taxes are the wages side of taxes or the employer side of taxes. We still need to change the merchant. I'm going to just call it the same thing. So that's kind of my hack for cleanups, where off the books, the tax pro can break this out into the proper wages and employer taxes category. Because remember, we are just moving super fast. Okay, so now let's remove this filter. We've made a lot of progress. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the advanced filters and I'm going to filter for no merchant. Let's just see what we have left. Oh gosh. Okay. So transfer to personal and transfer to Chase. That's helpful. So when you pay your credit card, which is Chase, not expenses. So what I'm going to do is we're going to delete those. All of these are the credit card payments, yeah? And then I saw the word personal, transfer to personal. So let's see what brings up whenever we look up personal. Maybe your bank might say transfer to your name, so you could potentially pick a good word to search so that you can filter. But yeah, okay, 7 instances of this person transferring money from business checking to their personal account. So we're going to delete these because these are not expenses for this business structure. These are going to be marked as owner's equity at a different point. All right, so we deleted a bunch. Let's see. We're going to go back to no merchant. Click apply. Okay, we have 29 left. Ooh, okay, so I see something called Heritage Business Services. I know there was just 3 here, so I'm not going to search, but I am going to change the merchant. Heritage Business Services is me. Best darn FreshBooks Pro out there. And we will classify this to accounting, save. Looks like they started paying for FreshBooks, so we can change the category. Let's change that to software. Save. Change the merchant to FreshBooks. Let's think Grammarly. That looks like an annual payment. Grammarly, create. Software. With the green check. American Airlines, sure. American Air. Travel. Nope. I think they have an airfare. Airfare, yeah. Check. This person bought some some training, so I'm going to call this education. She is a great small business coach. Ooh, let's take a look. So Pretty Pop's Dog Spa and Discount Tire. When I see something like that, I'm going ask client as my category. If you don't know, if you're the client, so we're going to create ask client. You could create a category called like needs more research, perhaps. The point is I have to find out, are these personal expenses? They seem to be. We're going to keep going through these little one-off, this print. That's going to be advertising. Let's call container store. We can call that office supplies. Designs by Jess. That was her website. So we're just going to put that to advertising. She hired someone named Designs by Jess to do that. Secretary of State, okay, Texas. Galileo. This is a great place for the taxes and license. But there'll be like a license, $300 to operate a business. Taxes and licenses is not where you put your payments to the IRS if you have to make estimated tax payments. John Sutton and Johnson Law. Okay. And we'll call that legal. I think there's a legal fee category. Let's take a refresh here. We're going to back to our search. We're going to go no merchants again. See what we have left. What haven't we handled? Okay. Those we know. All right. Let's look at all these things that are food. So on a cleanup, you might want to actually track like how much are you spending at Starbucks. And so you would need to put Starbucks. But for these purposes, we're going to create a merchant called Rest or Wants. Generic, right? That's just a generic term. Good enough. And change category. We'll go meals and entertainment. Save. Talk about this one right here, this $4,000 one. Oops. Cardinal sin. I did not uncheck my boxes. This I put to ask client because that seems fishy to me. That's a big expense. So what in the world is it? I'm also going to put transfer to Funbox as ask client because that's another one that might be. But sounds like I know Funbox is a loan. Actually, I think it has a partnership with FreshBooks. It's always giving people loans. Uncategorized right here. Oh, Hilton. Okay. Hilton. Hotel. See if we have any uncategorized. We can also search uncategorized. Another way to filter. Left. Okay. Change category. Hilton. I guess I didn't save it. Whoa. This is hotel. Save. And the merchant is Hilton. Okay. I think that we have now classified all of the expenses. Congratulations. Now we're going to go reconciling. We're probably more than halfway done, y'all. All right, so let's start with the checking account. So you click here. If it says 0, it's also clickable, by the way. And we're going to hit skip. This green button has caused me to earn more money than I can tell you. When you hit this button, you're going to mess things up. So we always hit skip until you know how to do it. When you've been in my FreshBooks office hours a while, sometimes I give people my blessing. Even then, sometimes they don't earn that blessing because they don't quite understand what it does. It matches negative numbers that are not expenses. So you're going to come here. We have 79 transactions on the bank side. This is the FreshBooks side. And in general, for an expense, you're going to click the left side, the right side, and this word just changed from mark as to match, and you would match it because that is an expense. We want that on our profit and loss statement. This also is an expense, left, right, match. Watch again. I'm going to do this Hiscox one. I want you to see the green button says mark as, but we're not going to mark as. We match our expenses. Hiscox is a business expense. But now we come to something that is not an expense. It doesn't have a gray box over here because we already deleted all of our Capital One transactions. If you didn't delete the Capital One transactions, though, which is where you get in trouble, you'll have a gray box that says this number and you'll think you're supposed to match it. But for credit card payments, it's not an expense. We go mark as a transfer. All you've done is taken cash, that's an asset, and reduced your credit card debt, which is a liability. You've transferred from an asset to a liability. So we're going to go transfer. We'll go CC payment. I'll put that in my clipboard for a cleanup. So we have that every month, right? So I wanted to search for Chase, and we've got several of these. Unfortunately, developers, I hope you're listening. This is one of the few places where you cannot do bulk actions. So I'm going to have to grind through this really fast. Mark as transfer. Mark as transfer. I wish they didn't give us that little encouraging note at the top. We're going to do all of these, coming to our last two here. Mark as transfer. One more. Mark as transfer. All right. And delete my filter. Back to the top. Ooh, we have some troubles. Fund box. So I'm going to use this time to take a detour. I'm going to search the word fund box and let's see what happened in checking. On November 11th, we received $5,000 on November 14th, and on December 14th, we lost $536. I found out from the client that this is a loan payment of this loan. I'm going to duplicate this FreshBooks tab. I'm right-clicking on my tab, duplicate. Highly recommend having multiple instances of FreshBooks open. I do have to do one thing, because we're going to have to go to create a fund box liability. And you can't change that chart of accounts like that without turning on advanced accounting. I went to settings, accounting, turned on advanced accounting. And now I can come here, back to accounting, and I'm going to hit chart of accounts. And I'm going to create our liability account. Liability, let's say that the plan is to, we'll call it a long-term liability. Doesn't really matter. Fund box loan. And I know that this fund box loan has some details that are this. $5,000 on November 14th. While I'm here, y'all, I'm going to add another account that's an asset. That's just because I know we're going to need it. And I don't want to have to come back here. Fannin EOS. See, we're purchase. And the amount was 4011.96. Add account. All right, I just needed to do that. All right, back to where we were. Okay, so we've got to book this loan. So first step, we're going to transfer that money in. Transfer. And we're going to call it fund box loan. Submit. Now, when you hit transfer one time, which unlike a credit card payment, you negative at a checking, positive on the credit card when you pay off your credit card, we're basically only going to see that number 5,000 one time. And that's our clue that we probably have to make in the journal entry. So we're going to come here to underneath accounting, the word journal entries, create journal entry. This was on November 14th, 2025. Nope. We're just going to call this fund box loan. Fund box loan. And I have some little more detail. We are going to debit petty cash for $5,000. And we have the liability fund box loan of $5,000. Whenever I make a journal entry, I like to do a sanity check and go to the balance. Well, I like to go to the report where I expect it to act. And we're on the balance sheet here. For cash basis people, you have to use the old report. So I clicked old report. And it was November the 14th we got this. So let's check November 13th and make sure we don't have a loan. No loan. Let's change it to the 14th and make sure we do have a loan. And we do have a loan. Right there. Right there. Great. Okay, back to bank reconciliation. What do we do about this payment? Well, I got the statement from this loan account. I know $500 was the principal pay down and $36.98 was the interest. So fund box, December statement. Submit the journal entry. Create a journal entry. This was, what was it, December 14th? Fund box payment. December 2025. So we want to reduce the liability. So that's what we reduce the liability by $500. We have interest expense now that we're going to hop on to this P&L statement. So we're selecting a 6,000 level account, which is expenses, then a 2,000 level, which is liabilities. And the number was 36.98. And then we have to add a line for our petty cash, which is the total 536.98. Click save. Let's go sanity check our balance sheet. We want there to be less debt on December 14th. Let's click apply. We should see 4,500, right? Because we said 500 principal. Boom. There it is. Boys. Cool. Gonna delete fund box from our filter. So you could just keep going through, left, right, match. I guess there was an expense. We work is an expense, left, right, match. Okay, and now we come to personal. Yeah. We don't like that. We like it, glad to pay, but we have to be careful. So it's not an expense. Again, if we hadn't deleted those already, there would be a negative 8,000 on this side, but we're going to go mark as owner's equity. We're not going to leave notes. You don't have to. Again, really sad there's no bulk action for this, so you just have to watch me. We'll see if I'm able to speed this up on the recording. My hand is pretty comfortable with knowing exactly where to go through all of this, so if you've got a lot of transactions, y'all, it's probably not worth your time to do all that, right? Because I just know how to do it so much faster. My team has how to do it so much faster. All right, let's take a look at this. So we've filtered for the word personal and a positive number came up. This was their initial owner's contribution. All we got to do is put it in owner's equity as well. Now you might want to say initial bank contribution to start business. I think that's everything that's not an expense. So I'm going to do the thing that I tell y'all not to do. And that is I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to come back in and I'm going to use that confirm and continue button. Again, I hope I'm right, that none of these were non-expenses. We want to call all of these expenses and I'm hitting confirm and continue. This will take a moment. We're getting 45 things matched all at once, but big, huge lift. We're going to go move to the credit card as soon as this comes over, and then we're going to come back to the checking account to handle the positive numbers. There will be a lot of payments that we will record, but I want to handle all of the expenses at once. I think that's a better way to think of treating these cleanup projects or rebuild projects, is doing expenses at once and then go handling the income side. While I'm waiting on this, I will do one quick thing. I'm going to come to the Clients tab. She has two main clients, so while we're waiting on that, we're going to create a client called Tyson's Poultry. We're going to need these. And then we're going to create one more client called Purdue Farms. Save. Let's see. All right, cool. It brought us over. And there's only 11 unreconciled transactions, and they're all positive. These are for payments from customers. Hallelujah. We are done with the checking account for now. Coming into the credit card. We're not going to hit confirm and continue because I know there are some things that are not expenses in that list that FreshBooks was teeing up. They were saying, these are expenses. Hit that green button. And you would be paying me to help you fix this if you did that. Okay, similar situation. Trello, that software, great. Match. Adobe, which I spelled Adobe. Match. Heritage Business Services, the FreshBooks office hours. Some of the best money I'll ever spend. Fantastic there. Now we're coming to a positive number. All right, something interesting. Now this same $4,600 was a negative number in checking. Okay, just trust me, if it had a sister that we marked as a transfer, we're going to do the same thing. And we might have it in my clipboard here. Do I have credit card payment? Boom. There we go. Submit. So what I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm actually going to go auto pay. Yeah, auto. Here we go. So I'm going to handle all of these. Mark as transfer. One at a time, which was a bummer. But even if you just come to the office hours group as an accountability time where you're getting all this stuff done, you'll never get this far behind, and it'll feel so less overwhelming than if you wait until the springtime every year to do your taxes, which is what you used to do. But no more, right? You're going to declare, I'm sick of that. All right, submit. Cool, we've handled our credit card payments. All right, so we're going to match a few more until I get to 2 more, and then we're going to see our next problem child. The B&H video. We asked for more information about this, and it was determined that this was an asset. Similar to liability, we mark it as a transfer. We're going to call this the Canon camera purchase. Got a little some notes in there. All right, submit. And we got to go back to the journal entry section. Journal entries. If we had transfer only one time, unlike those credit card payments that show that's a kind of a double, it's 2 times. It's negative and positive together. But we're only getting transfer once, so we've got to make a journal entry. This is Hello Camera Purchase. So assets we debit, so camera 4011.96. And then when in doubt, petty cash, the thing that is unique to FreshBooks that you'll never see in any other bookkeeping software, and it took me years to learn. I hope you get it. It's like a holding account, y'all. It's where everything sits. Everything that happens in FreshBooks sits in petty cash. We put it in the right spot. And so we're saying, we're putting this in that asset now. All right, so I think that is all we have. Oh, no, you know what we do? We have a positive number. You know what? Forget that. I'm going to come out of here and we're going to match most of these. No. Sorry. We have a couple of owner's draws. The pretty pups dog spot we found out was not a business expense. Submit. And then we also found out that discount tire was in fact a personal expense. Submit. Great. Now I can confidently say that these are all these things are business expenses. Do a quick scan through. Yep. The more personal expenses you have, the more you would be like unchecking these things. All right, confirm and continue. This will take a moment. We already added our clients, so we don't need to talk about that. So I'll just use this time as a chance to tell you that, oh, you know what, one thing up there that's signaling to me, because of this thing behind the scenes saying upgrade your account. If you take the time to do FreshBooks and you're using the 30-day free trial and you connected your bank account, do not let your 30 days expire without giving FreshBooks your credit card number. Because if you do that, they're going to disconnect your bank accounts, and that causes a big old mess. I do have a video on my channel, Fix Your FreshBooks, which you need to be subscribed to. This channel right here. It's called like, oh crap, my bank account's disconnected in FreshBooks. And I tell you the hack that I had to come up with to help people fix this. It was literally a hack that I thought of in the middle of the night as I was like, I finally know how to solve this problem that really wrecks FreshBooks accounts. So make sure that you go in on day like 27 or 28 and give them your credit card or debit card number so you can keep your account alive, your bank connection alive. All right, y'all, we have everything but one transaction matched. This is an interesting one. It's on the credit card, but it's a positive number. What is that? She returned something to the Container Store. So on a positive number, we actually have three things here. One's called expense refund. The only thing you have to know is what category did you put the original expense to? I know that I put Container Store to office supplies. So you'll hit submit. And congratulations, we have reconciled our credit card all the way. Now we have to come and handle the income for checking account. So we're going to have two instances of FreshBooks open. I'm going to come to invoices now. I'm going to pop this all the way over here. I'll bring this one up and close. Don't want that. Okay, so I have a list that has some great information about where the cash came from. So I know I'm going to just search for Purdue. So Purdue was her first client. She did a small project and then she got them on a quarterly relationship. Let's have it look like that. All right. So I need to create a new invoice for this income. We have to have invoices to record income like this. This is Purdue. And you would make this look very good, y'all. You would put your logo, all the business info. You're going to select January 9th is when you got this money. And for cleanups, I create an item called historical income. And the first one was $4,700. And yep, January 9th. This client paid us 4 more times. So I'm going to duplicate that. And you see that little double piece of paper right there? This next payment happened on April 1st. Historical income of $16,000. Click Save. This client, because they have a quarterly same payment, we're actually going to be really easy to fly through this. Duplicate. The next one was July 1st for $16,000. Save. One more. Duplicate $16,000 on October 1st. Save. Now, you'll notice in this invoice tab, these are marked as drafts. We're not going to send them because we don't want to send them, but we can add a payment. I know I can group these by saying they were all paid by ACH. Now, invoice number 4 was paid on October 1st. Invoice number 3, I recall, was paid on July 1st. The second one I made was paid on April 1st, and then this one was paid on January 9th. January 9th. Save. These are going to be green on this next page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this screen, and we're going to have boxes on this right side, y'all. And so FreshBooks automatically created a box for every expense, even if it wasn't an expense, and it didn't automatically create a box for any positive number. So that's kind of the discrepancy here. But we will match our income. Match. July 1st. Match. Sorry, this looks a little weird because of the screen dimensions. Match. And then this 4,700 one. Match. All right. Now, I also know that they got paid regularly from Tyson. So now we're going to create a new invoice. I'm going to start at the bottom. This was Tyson. And historical income, but the amount was $6,800. Save. Whoops, I had to edit that. I did not change the date. That was paid on February 22nd. Save. You can change your invoice numbers, y'all. If you're a brand new FreshBooks user, I recommend picking not number 1 to start. Lots of times I recommend using your birthday. So you could pick, if you were born June 14th, you could pick like 0614. This one is April 1st. Historical income of $21,000. Thank you. 2 more. July 1st, 21,000, save. And October 1st, save. We have to mark these as paid. So I'm going to sort these by status so I can grab 1, 2, 3, 4 actions, add a payment. They were ACH, click apply. I know that invoice number 5 was the first one that I did. That was February 22nd. Invoice 6 was April 1st. This one was July 1st. And this one was October 1st. Click save. I'm going to hit refresh over here. At this point, I'm going to maximize this. And great. Boom. Boom. I lived in Virginia Beach with my husband. We were stationed in Virginia Beach, and we drove up the Maryland Eastern Shore. And there's a lot of poultry that we passed. It kind of stinks. All right. Now, only 3 left. And how are we going to handle these? Well, she tells me that these were just like some speaking fees. She gets hired to go speak sometimes. And so maybe not her core income, not her consulting income. So I'm going to teach her another way to create some, to really jam income in here. We're going to call this speaker fees and create that source. We're going to categorize it under other income. This is kind of invoices can give you a lot of detail when you do them right. This gives us very little detail, but it does record our income. And I'm going to tell you that the total of these 3 things is $19.60. And whenever I did this hack, I always make it for the last day of the year. That's kind of a clue to me that I probably am jamming some stuff together. So I'm going to click save on this. Again, a hack to record the income, and I'm going to show you how this is going to appear in the P&L statement. But I can grab this thing from March, August, and December and say it was this total income called speaker fees. I'm going to click match. Hallelujah. We've done a great job. You do need to watch my 6 steps to bank reconciliation video, because what we haven't done is taken your checking statement and credit card statement and shown where to match. I don't trust these numbers. Usually when I do a rebuild, I start to trust them more, but I don't want you to get this incorrectly in your head that you're just looking at these numbers. This is not where we're going to go look to compare our ending balance of our checking statements or credit card statements. But I would just tell you that we did this correctly. Every penny's accounted for. Way to go. Now let's go to the reports. So I'm going to actually favorite a few. The balance sheet, the profit and loss, and the general ledger. When you're in my bank reconciliation video, I tell you to start on the trial balance. I'm actually going to not have you start that because I want to emphasize that your tax pro is going to ask for the trial balance, and you're going to tell them that FreshBooks does not have one. It's called a trial balance, and it's wrong. So wrong. Don't send this to anybody ever. So we're not gonna use that today. I do use it, but I can't teach it in this context of this quick rebuild. So let's go look and see how much money she made this year. For Americans, we have to view the old report because almost certainly you're going to be a cash basis tax filer, and we don't get the cash basis on the new report. So I'm going to click apply and close. And this is going to be very tiny for you watching on YouTube. Couple things I want to tell you. Income's here at the top. I want to point out how she has all this income. The big income is in these payments. That's where the invoice goes. And then we have this $19.60 of other income with zeros all the way across except in December. And that makes sense, right? Because we said that she got this other income on December 31st. She pulled in $124,000. Here is her expense breakdown. She doesn't have anything in uncategorized. Nothing smells off here. She spent $34,000 to get this, to get that $124,000. So her net income is $89,000. I will tell you that one easier way on the eyes is to go view by quarter. And when you do that, you can see 4 columns plus a total. You can export for Excel, which sometimes you might want to do that just into your tax pro because they like it. Like, for instance, they're going to want to break out this wages, right, when you give them your report from your payroll provider. You can also print a PDF. How do we go to the balance sheet? Let's go to December 31st, 2025. Apply. We know we should have some camera on there. We know we should have a little bit of fund box debt. Right there is our debt. There's our asset. That is how much cash we have. For the balance sheet, I really do prefer to export this one to Excel. Let's see what it shows us. The number one thing that we're looking for here is that petty cash is 0. All right. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. We hit a lot. We didn't hit everything in this instance. She was very disciplined. She didn't have any transactions for business that she bought on personal money. We want to talk about that. I have videos for that. You can also come and ask me at my monthly free Q&A that I have for people. If you're a new FreshBooks user and you're making good money like this and you're smart and disciplined and you're willing to take your book seriously and commit to prioritizing your bookkeeping, I'd love to have you apply for the FreshBooks Office Hours group that I host. That meets weekly. Actually, it meets 6 times a month. Reach out if you want those details. The best way to contact me is always emailing operations@heritagebusinessservices.com, because we just talked at this high level. There's going to be some little one-offs that you're like, but what happens when the client paid me and I put it in my personal checking? Or my Uber is not connected to my business, it's connected to personal, and I want to get those expenses in here. There's always some extra what-ifs. So reach out. I have free prospective client calls as well, 15-minute little chat to see if we can end up working together. You're welcome to book one of those. I'm excited for you that you're taking the time to learn how to use this software. You have found the right spot to learn how to use it. Best of all, I would love to help you get it set up. We didn't talk about so much. Please know that we really should have started down here, and we barely talked about down here. But this is where you start a FreshBooks file if you're going to start using it. You don't start up here where we started. I would love to give you the skills to use this tool for all it's worth, helping with your sales, billing expenses, billing time, all the wonderful things that it is built to do. If you know you're someone who's going to outsource their books, or you're transitioning from another software, bookkeeping software, but you have a large enterprise and you want a bookkeeper, you found the best FreshBooks bookkeeper. So stay in touch. If you do want to look at other bookkeepers, though, I have a video that's going to be available where I talk about 3 ways to find a FreshBooks Pro. Let me know if you need that video. I can only help so many people, try to help as many as I can, but FreshBooks is doing a great job of building this army of FreshBooks Pros, so I'm happy to share that information. Because I believe I succeed as long as accounting pros and FreshBooks users are winning with FreshBooks. If you've listened this long, the best way to say thanks is to go to heritagebusinessservices.com/tools. On that page, you're going to find a link to all the small business tools I recommend, and many of them have referral links behind it. My favorite ones to recommend are FreshBooks itself, Relay for banking, and Gusto.com for payroll. Please let me know if anything I said didn't make sense. I'm Kate Josephine Johnson, and I help businesses build their business legacy.